Yo, what's up? Welcome to another build guide. So first of all, I will talk about the build, how I came up with it, what I use the build for, those kind of stuff. So there's gonna be an intro, then I will explain the gear, what you need to buy, what you need to craft, the usual stuff as always. This is an all content build that is for Sentinel League 3.18. You can also do all Uber bosses, but Searing, Exarch and Ether of Worlds are for some reason very hard. Probably because this build doesn't have that crazy DPS. So let's just first talk about the Uber content, what you need to know about that. So if you don't know, if you maybe haven't tried any, those maps, those areas actually have less damage taken on the monsters. So a Maven, Uber Maven actually has 50% less damage taken. And I believe all of the other ones have 70%. So at least 50% less damage taken. That means that you will lose most of your DPS on any build. I believe that also works for minions, otherwise it would be stupid. I'm not sure. So yeah, so first of all, this is a very tanky build. I just wanted to create a tanky Facetank build for the new Uber content because I knew that they are gonna hit so much. That's why I wanted to do a tanky Juggernaut build. Molten Strike is one of my favorite meta skills because you can Facetank very comfortably with this skill, with a huge mitigation and also life on hit abuse, obviously, because it shoots lots of projectiles. So we are gonna do that in this build. Because I tanked, I squeezed in so much tank items, those kind of stuff, my DPS is not crazy. But for usual setup, usual what is that, maps, let's say, usual bosses, feared invitation, even that, you know, all the regular invitations with the new keystone, so you can also do that, double the effect of the modifiers. That is fine, that is nothing. But on Uber content, because the bosses have 50% and goes up to 70% less damage taken, and in Uber Cortex there is also crit damage reduction. You just lose like 90% of your DPS, which is stupid if you ask me. Or maybe they will nerf Uber bosses in the next patch, because most people apparently have a problem killing those. Even with this build, I can actually tank lots of stuff, most of the stuff, you know, face tank. I even sometimes die to some certain mechanics, especially in Ether of Worlds and Searing Exarch. Those two bosses are way over-tuned. Even the Ether of Worlds, the regular tentacle attack just one-shots this character. I don't know why. Don't ask me. It is just stupid. So yeah, that's why those clips are gonna be... Maybe I won't even put those clips, but I actually killed all the bosses. I also put the video clips in my channel, because there are lots of bosses, each of them are like 5 minutes. They are not gonna be in this video, you know, the full versions. I already uploaded them in my channel, so you can go and watch all the Uber bosses uncut in my channel. Go and watch those, all the invitations with the keystone allocated. You know, Maven releases all bosses and then 100% increased quantity. So they are all in my channel. There are gonna be cuts in this video also while I'm explaining the build. So long story short, this is a super tank build. For regular content, the DPS is fine. The build, I believe, has like 15 million, maybe 20 million DPS, something like that, which is overkill for regular content. But in Uber bosses, because the area has the modifier, monsters take 70% less damage taken. The DPS is not crazy on those maps. But if you want to, you know, play a face tank build, maybe if you are a fan of these kind of melee builds, this is a build for you. Otherwise, here is what you should do. Play a semi-tanky, super crazy DPS build and just try to burn those bosses faster. Maybe waste 2 or 3 portals, it is fine. This is softcore, obviously. So maybe try to play something like that. I will actually have an update video for my armor stack champion this week or maybe next week. So you should probably play that if you are looking for a higher DPS build, so you can actually burn those bosses faster. That is also a cheaper build. I am not also using Ashes of Stars in this new version, because that amulet is super expensive. Lots of people have been asking me that build these days, because lots of people are playing it. It is one of the meta builds right now. So that's why there's gonna be an update video soon. So maybe wait for that, level your duelist, because that's gonna be crazy anyways. And that is probably gonna get nerfed in the next patch, the armor stacking. It is just stupid. So let's just start with this build now. Enough with the intro. I'm just gonna explain all the items, those kind of regular stuff. So again, Molten Strike. This is a skill that has a melee hit and then projectiles. Most DPS comes from projectiles. You can just increase the projectile number with helmet enchant. A dying sign flask, which I haven't used actually. And also, what is that? Some keys, not what's that? Notables, large clusters, yeah, and medium clusters, megalomaniacs. So you want to stack fan of blades. The more the better, obviously. More projectile, more DPS, and also more life on hit. Just try to get at least 2 of these maybe on your talent tree for 2 large clusters. Maybe skip megalomaniacs. There are right now lots of results with double modifiers, 2 modifier megalomaniacs that are good for this build. So that's why you can actually buy those if you can still find them. They are like 1 exalt each, which is nothing. So a question that most people will ask, can this build be played without mageblood? Yes. I am also gonna prepare another equipment set in the path of building. The reason I used mageblood is I did party farm in a 6-man group at league start, so that's why I actually got lots of currency left from that. I wanted to buy a mageblood and try to do a good boss carry. So I will maybe use that on other builds, but I will always prepare a non-mageblood gear set for the builds upcoming if I use that mageblood, alright? So the reason I use mageblood in this build is to get more mitigation thanks to Sapphire Flask, less cold damage taken. Most bosses actually deal cold damage in Uber bosses, those kind of stuff. Maven, Uber Elder. I believe Shaper Balls are also cold, but I am not sure right now. I don't know, those Cortex boss maybe. So most bosses actually have cold damage, so I wanted to just abuse Sapphire Flask. Plus I wanted to keep my chaos resistances. I'm gonna talk about that soon. So those are the biggest reasons I used mageblood on this build. You actually do not have to keep chaos resist. Let's just talk about that right now. The reason I kept chaos resist is I am abusing Doppelganger's Guise. I just used this 1 month ago maybe on my Bone Shatter build, a simulacrum farmer that can achieve 610 trauma stacks. So if you watched that video, you already know what the deal is. So this body armor has less physical and chaos damage taken while sane, and also regenerate 10% life over 1 second when hit while sane. So while sane means that this body armor actually gives you a button on your skill bar. You do not have to press that. If you press it, you go insane. So just remove that from your keybinds, skill bar. Do not press it ever. You need to be on sane stance, alright? If you see nothing on your buff bar at top left of your screen, it is fine. It means that you are sane, alright? Don't make that mistake. So less physical and chaos damage taken. So I wanted to get benefit from that chaos damage taken. That's why we are using Glorious Vanity with Shibakua Commander. That actually converts a nearby keystone in the radius to Divine Flesh. All damage taken bypass energy shield, which is fine. This is not an energy shield build. 50% of elemental damage taken as chaos damage. And also maximum chaos damage plus 5. This means that if you increase your chaos damage resistance, chaos resist, I actually have 87. Almost 90. I'm only missing 3% resist. I don't need that. So I actually mitigate half of the elemental damage taken from that part. Then it also gets mitigated from the body armor because it has up to 40% less chaos damage taken. So huge mitigation. This is actually better than Breast Dome body armor, which is another overpowered body armor, which is actually super cheap these days. So if you don't have a mageblood, if you cannot keep your chaos resist, maybe also do not use Doppelganger, use a Breast Dome instead, which provides huge armor, plus 5 all maximum resistances, elemental I believe, and also crit damage reduction, crit immunity, yeah. Right now my build isn't crit immune, that's why I actually need to roll invitations that have crit, because crit still hits so hard. With the double effect from the talent tree, 100% increase effect of the modifiers on those invitations, crit actually hits a lot. So if you are playing with Doppelganger, make sure you roll those invitations with crit modifier. If you play with Breast Dome, it is fine obviously because you are crit immune. So those two are your body armor options. If you cannot keep chaos resist and all the other stuff, don't use Doppelganger. You don't need mageblood, and you don't need to invest into maximum chaos resist. So you can also skip that Divine Flesh, Glorious Vanity. All right. So this is the most important thing you need to know. So depending on your budget, you decide if you want to play with Doppelganger or breastdome, and you decide if you need that mageblood or not. So let me just explain the rest of the build. This is a Juggernaut accuracy stack because of the keystone, and notable that he has undeniable accuracy rating, attack speed per 150 accuracy rating, and gain accuracy equal to twice your strength. So this means that if you stack accuracy, you gain attack speed. Obviously, that is alone isn't enough. We also use Obscurantis helmet, projectile attack damage per 200 accuracy. So you need to play a projectile skill. A question that you might ask, can I play Lightning Strike? Probably yes. I'm not sure if it has more DPS or not, but feel free to try it. If you like Lightning Strike, just go for that. So that is another good example. Obviously, you need another helmet enchant. Because I picked Molten Strike fires 2 additional projectiles. I didn't want to pay extra for Enlighten, I just wanted to save a gem slot. That is why I bought this helmet with Corruption implicit. Pocket skill gems get a 90% cost and reservation multiplier. This way I just put all my auras and buffs in this helmet without the need of Enlighten, so that saves me 1 gem slot. But I actually used lots of stupid gems in this build. There is actually open slots. Maybe you can just get rid of 1 or 2 of them. So in the end, you can actually play with Enlighten, you don't need this helmet. Or if you also play without Doppelganger, that means that you will have some points left on your talent tree anyways. So you can just maybe get a reservation, small cluster maybe. So it is easy to fix a reservation, alright? You don't need that socket gems get 90% corruption if you cannot find it. Obviously get help from a labyrinth service provider in TFT Discord if you want to enchant your corrupted helmet. So yeah, that is about the helmet, that is about the accuracy stack. Another accuracy stack item, Oskarm glows. Crit strike chance per 200 accuracy. So higher accuracy means more attack speed, more crit strike chance, more projectile attack damage thanks to these items. And the notable Juggernaut has. This also applies Assassin Mark Curse to rare or unique enemies. And also if you can get a corrupted one, which is like 2 Exalt right now, Elemental Weakness Curse. So this is a double curse build for more DPS. One bad news about this glows is right now bugged. If you attack something and apply that assassin mark and don't kill that monster, maybe you are in a map, you are just rushing for the boss, maybe you are doing Shaper Guardian or Elder Guardian farm. You just rush for the boss, kill the boss with Maven, Witness, whatever, and then go for Twisted Format Invitations. You know that you know that farm probably. If you do that, if you just attack some stuff on the way and don't kill that, you actually cannot apply mark to a newer target because that target is still alive. So the glows thinks that you need to kill that monster for some reason, so it doesn't apply any more assassin mark actually. So there's a bug with that. That's why I am also using an assassin mark 20 level gem, actually a waste of gem slot. So if you notice that while playing the build, you have to apply the curse manually, assassin mark. So make sure you use an assassin mark gem because the glows are actually bugged. Maybe I will write to the bug fix support team in GGG, but I'm not sure when they will fix that. So yeah, this gloves is bugged. You need to use an assassin mark gem also if that happens. Also in invitations, let's say 4 bosses spawned, you try to attack one and it just disappeared. Maybe a Hydra in Format Invitation, Eradicator in Twisted Invitation. Those bosses sometimes disappear and you need to do something else for 10 seconds. Because that boss is still alive, you cannot apply assassin mark with the gloves to another boss. So on that scenario, you also need to do that. Also in Uber Elder, there is Shaper and Elder at the same time. If the mark is on Elder, sometimes it doesn't get transferred to Shaper. So that's why you need to also apply that manually. So this happens, you have to use assassin mark curse, the gem also, alright? I hope that was clear, because this is super important and also frustrating. Final accuracy stack item, a boot that has the implicit plus flat added lightning damage per 200 accuracy rating. So this can be a Storm Rider boot, Wind Shriek boots, I believe. Don't search for the name while you are buying the base. Just search for the implicit. Attack lightning damage per 200 accuracy and it will just pop in the trade website. Just click that implicit and buy a base type. Let me just explain how to craft this. So first of all, this build is ailment immune. Maybe if you are gonna try playing this build for a lower budget, you can skip that. But you might die to, you know, getting shocked. This build is already frozen immune. Because this is a Juggernaut, he is already immune to freeze and stuns. I will just also put the picture on the screen. Unstoppable. cannot be stunned. Action speed cannot be modified below base value. This means that you cannot get frozen. So Juggernaut is already immune to those kind of effects. But if you're not ailment immune, obviously you can get shocked, which you can mitigate with minor Pantheon. What's that? Garukan, reduce effect of shock. But you will also get ignited, so maybe you can die to ignite. So ailment immunity is not super important, especially if you are doing regular content. Regular bosses, you know, Shaper, Guardians, those kind of stuff. Some Uber bosses also, you don't need ailment immunity. But if you also want to do Simulacrum with this build, you definitely need to be immune, because there are also Sep, Scorch, Brittle, those kind of other elemental ailments which can kill you instantly. So yeah, if you want that ailment avoidance, here's what you need to do. Buy another boots with Shaper influence, maybe with the avoid ailment on it. That is a Shaper modifier. There are lots of boots for 1 chaos. I just paid for 1 chaos. It doesn't have to be a Storm Rider boots. Just get a random boots with avoid elemental ailments. Tier 1, I believe, 30, 35, whatever it is. You can also elevate that with Orb of Dominance if you feel like it, because I actually get 10% on the talent tree, which you can avoid actually. So maybe you can also use an elevated boots, because it goes up to 45%. Alright, have a Shaper boots ready. Then buy a Storm Rider boots or the other base, whatever, that has that accuracy rating, lightning damage stuff. At least 75 item level, which is gonna be easy. Use Hunter Exalt on it. Then use alterations until you hit Tailwind. After that, obviously, we are using Awakener Orb that drops from Sirius. Just the regular crafting method. Click the bat boots first. Obviously, that Shaper based stupid boots, whatever it is. Then click Tailwind, Storm Rider boots for the last. And bam, they are gonna get combined, obviously. These are both suffixes. So you can easily fix prefixes with Harvest Craft or Azelink Slam from Katarina. You know, if you put Katarina, what's that, research? What's that? If you put Azelink, I don't know how to call her name, you know, pronounce her name. But you know that there's a veiled modifier option, you know. People just sell it in TFT Discord. Just put prefixes, suffixes cannot be changed, because that will actually protect that Tailwind and avoid elemental ailments. Then by that craft, it will just delete a prefix and put a veiled modifier. Then, you know, just block mana. That is what I did. I blocked mana on the crafting bench. I just unveiled the item. I got move speed. Put that. And finally, for the crafting bench option, put life. That's it. You don't need to. You don't need much crafting knowledge. Actually, this is very easy to do. If you need any help, maybe if you didn't understand, just hop onto my Discord and talk with us. You know, I have lots of channels in my Discord. Just get help from craft on the channel Craft Help. Don't be shy. So yeah, that is how to finish that boots. Again, you can skip elemental avoidance if you want for a cheaper boots. Anyways, for the enchant, I picked flat lightning damage. Labyrinth service providers just crafted for 50 chaos, and it takes like 1 hour maximum, because they do gifted lab, which provides them 6 enchants in a same labyrinth. A lightning damage enchant also has a higher weighting, I believe, so that's why they can just craft it in 1 or 2 hours. It just took the guy 2 labyrinths, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, and I just got my boots immediately for only 50 chaos. So you can also do that, get help, alright? Enough with the accuracy stack items. I'll just wrap things up, you know, the other items. Claw. So we want Claw because they have life gain on it. On the implicit, that is how to abuse Molten Strike and life on hit. So you can actually leech and life on it so much that you can face tank lots of damage at the same time. So because Claws are popular, there are lots of results on the market. You want to search for the highest elemental damage as possible depending on your budget. You can just get all the damage types, lightning, fire, cold. It doesn't matter. Just get a random elements combined. My what's that? Claw has actually 774, almost 800 DPS, elemental DPS. We are also using Trinity support. That means that you are actually gonna penetrate all elements. But our most damage is actually lightning, because Storm Rider boots also provide flat lightning damage per accuracy. We also use Anger Aura to balance the Trinity, so we can actually get resonance on all 3 elements. So we can also penetrate cold. So yeah, that's it. If you want to min-max your claw, you can also put accuracy. That's gonna be a little bit expensive, but without accuracy, these are actually really easy to afford. But there are not much results with accuracy, so you may want to wait and spend extra if you want to min-max the build. Shield. This is how I get more maximum resistances and also avoid elemental ailments. Plus accuracy plus life. I bought this for 100 chaos. No one uses these kind of shields. There are lots of results. So if you want to be ailment immune, first of all, try to search for that. Obviously later on life, accuracy, maybe attack speed. Also plus maximum resistance helps. If you are not playing with Doppelganger, you don't need that maximum resist. You are gonna play with Breaststorm anyways, plus 5. There is like plus 3 on Talent 3 anyway, so let's say plus 8 resistances. So that makes at least 83 all elemental resistances, which is actually enough, considering the build is also tanky from other sources. So yeah, maybe you can skip that elemental resistances on the shield, because this says all maximum resistances. This also applies for chaos. So if you are playing with Doppelganger, if you want that 50% elemental damage taken as chaos to work better, that is also something that you should search for. If you can get a shield with open prefix, you can also craft lightning damage as extra chaos, which provides some decent DPS. But my shield didn't have that. Again, this was like 100 chaos shield. No one uses these kind of shields. So feel free to buy something better if you want. Final items, jewelry. So first of all, rings. If you still need to keep your resistances, you need to pick a base depending on that. Obviously, so for DPS, elemental damage with attacks, maybe flat damage. And on the suffixes, there are global accuracy percentage and also flat accuracy that you can get both at the same time. So for the base type, if you don't need any resistances, maybe if you can afford a mageblood or you kept your resistances somehow, obviously rare belts can have so much resistance. Also Stygian vise can also have a socket. My boots also didn't have any resist. So maybe you already kept your resistances, alright, let's say. So what else can you invest in? Synthesize base rings with the implicit global accuracy. So once you buy these rings, you need to use, I believe, serrated fossils. That is the attack fossil. That way you can actually get accuracy on the suffixes. You need to just burn some fossils. So fossil crafting is the best way to get accuracy, because as far as I know, there is not an essence for accuracy. So that's why spam serrated fossil. Just check Craft of Exile website. There is actually a simulation there. You can just check what modifiers you want on your ring. Click the fossil and it will just simulate and say you need at least 50 tries with this fossil, or maybe you need 100 tries with this combination. It will cost you approximately 300 chaos to craft this, whatever. There's a simulation in Craft of Exile, alright? Just go for that. Serrated fossil is probably the best way to craft this, because you can get both accuracy, but obviously you need to aim for higher tiers. Later on, maybe you need to fix prefixes. Again, you can get Azelink, Veiled craft on the prefix. Try to get life or mana cost reduction maybe, and craft the other one. Or maybe also try to go for elemental damage with attacks, any flat damage. So it is up to you, it is up to your budget. So global accuracy rings in the end are very nice. There are also endurance charge rings. You can also go for those if you want. They are like for Exalt, the base, without any craft. It is hard to buy Sentinel endurance charge rings because they actually suck. You cannot find any accuracy on those. So I highly advise you to get synthesize implicit rings if you want to craft your own. Or just get some random accuracy plus elemental damage, life, resist rings. There are lots of results on the market without the implicits, obviously. And finally, belt. Again, if you want to play with Doppelganger, if you want to be tankier, if you can afford one, you know, a mageblood. There is also a card for mageblood. That's why it is so much cheaper compared to previous leagues. It is right now 160 exalt. It was like 300, I believe, the previous patches. I remember the first patch it came, it was 800 exalt. Stupid shit. So right now this is way more cheaper. If you can afford it, if you are a, you know, crafter, or maybe if you can farm efficiently in this game, you can just buy this in the end, obviously. So yeah, this way you can actually have 4 magic flasks up all the time. So you can actually abuse flasks. These are the flasks that I am using with the setup. This is obviously in the path of building also. So permanent, onslaught, lots of armor, easy to keep elemental resistances and chaos resist. And also less damage taken thanks to Sapphire Flask for cold damage. And reduce effect of curses, so I am almost immune, or maybe I am immune, I don't know, to curses. Because that 65% effect is actually gonna also get more effect thanks to the implicit craft with the enkindling orbs, instilling or whatever it is. 7% effect on the flask that actually boosts that value. It isn't written on the flask itself, but it is not 65% because I put that effect. It is right now maybe 80% or however it is calculated, alright? If you cannot afford a mageblood, obviously use a Stygian vise. That is the best base because it also has a socket. Or you can use Darkness Enthroned, yeah, with 2 abyss sockets that actually also boosts the effect of the sockets. So you can just put accuracy, life, any missing resistances, those kind of abyss jewels in those belts. If you want to play with a Stygian vise, obviously life and resistances, and also elemental damage with attacks. And finally, if you can afford one, a hunter base maybe for additional percentage of life. So those kind of belts without mageblood will actually also carry you, but you need to use regular flasks. So I will obviously put those in Path of Building. So the flasks you need to use without mageblood should have the modifier gain flask charge when you get hit by an enemy. So you want to abuse those. It goes up to 7 charges, so if something hits you, you gain 7 charge of that flask. Because this build face tanks everything, you will just get hit all the time and you can just see your flasks getting filled in a second on some crowded areas. Let's say 4 bosses attack you at the same time in a Maven invitation. It is impossible to run out of flasks. So in the end, you actually don't even need a mageblood. Because that is something else to abuse. There are lots of stuff to abuse in this game right now. There is still no nerf to any of this stuff. They actually haven't nerfed or buffed anything in 3.18, which was stupid if you ask me. Because why not? How are you gonna shift meta if you don't do anything? That is probably the reason most people do not play this game right now. The player base is right now dead. No one plays Path of Exile right now. So that is sad news. And that's it about all the gear, those kind of stuff. I'll just check Path of Building real quick. I'll just show you a couple of things super fast. So Glorious Vanity, Shibakua. This is the keystone that converts to Divine Flesh. This is normally Elemental Equilibrium, I believe. So how I kept my Elemental Avoidance, because again my boost doesn't have elevated avoid ailments. Normally you just stuck at 90%. Because this provides 35%, this provides 35%, 70%. 20% is here. Pixikin, life notable, 8, 4, 4, 4. So 90% total. If you can find a Glorious Vanity, this is gonna be super hard. That is why you should probably craft your boots as elevated, by the way. That is gonna be super cheaper, let's say. This actually had jungle pets. Avoid elemental ailments. So 10%. I believe this also goes to... let me just find it. Jungle. Yeah, this also has a roll on it. If you get 8%, that means that you're gonna be 98% elemental... 98% chance to avoid elemental ailments. It is not gonna even be 10%. So I advise you to not search for these. I was lucky and found one in a couple of tries. I was super lucky. So you should definitely craft your boots with elevated modifier. Or if you are not using mageblood, if you use a Stygian vise, those kind of stuff, you can actually get an abyss jewel that has avoid chill. What's that? Not chill. We are already immune to that. What's that? Avoid ignited, avoid shocked. Those two can exist on a single abyss jewel. Let's just craft that here. Abyss jewel ailment. Let me just type it like this. This is gonna be in Path of Building, obviously. So you can also get this. Just a random jewel, it doesn't matter. Avoid being ignited and avoid being, not that, shocked. As you can see, it goes up to... This is more than enough, by the way. We only need 10%. If you just buy a jewel like this and maybe an implicit prefix, maybe life, I don't know, whatever you can find, this actually keeps your elemental avoidance. Again, this is a Juggernaut. You are already immune to freeze. So you just need to put that ignite and shock, or craft an elevated boots for that 45%. Just don't search for jungle pets. It is gonna be impossible and waste of time and currency. Just get a couple of Shibakuas, maybe. These are super cheap right now. If you can find it, sure. Because this is the only notable that I'm using. That is the bad part actually. Or if you can maybe find that here, because this is normally an accuracy stack notable, global accuracy, but you can see that this is also a val notable right now. So maybe if it is here, you can just spend 3 points, get some accuracy, get jungle pets here, maybe that exists on your jewel. It's so hard to type that. Yeah. So maybe something like this can also work for you. Otherwise, just do the other things that I showed you, alright? Boots and jewel. And that's it about that elemental avoidance. Large clusters, fan of blades, martial prowess. This is an accuracy stack, obviously. This is very nice. Fan of blades, again, +1 projectile if you are wielding a claw or dagger. More molten strike projectiles, more life on it, more DPS. This combination is right now 1 exalt because no one plays molten strike. 8 passive, claw. Also try to put some maybe resistances, so the small ones actually provide something. 3 notables are waste of money if you ask me. That's why I just picked 2 notables, fan of blades and martial prowess. Again, same thing here with all elemental resistances. I just paid 1.5 exalt because I also searched for resist. The non-resist ones are like 1 exalt. Super cheap. You can also search for some megalomaniacs maybe with fan of blades. And Born of Chaos. That is something that you need if you play with Doppelganger. So these two right now starts from 1 exalt. There are like 20 results. The third one was shit. So yeah, this was only like 1 exalt. Secrets of Suffering, so you can actually apply Brittle for more crit. Sap reduces the damage dealt by the enemy, so more tanky character. Our character is gonna be more tanky. Scorch, all elemental penetration. These are the values that I saw because this build doesn't deal crazy DPS. Again, this is by the way per ball, 2 million DPS. I believe I had 9 balls or maybe 8, I don't know. So total 15 million, 16 million DPS with also melee hit, you know, goes up to maybe 20 million, I don't know, maybe more than 15 million, let's say. So that's why these are the values that I could apply. This is actually goes up to 30%. This goes up to 14%. I'm not sure about this. Maybe this is also wrong. I believe it was 10%. And that's it about Secrets of Suffering. Because Omniscience is super expensive, this jewel is super cheap because no one affords Omniscience. This jewel was like 10 exalt in 3.17. Right now it is 1 exalt. Just go and get one. If you still need to keep your chaos resist, here is what you should get. 3-point passives, you know, chaos resist, small cluster with more chaos resist on the suffix. And also anti-venom or another Born of Chaos. So more +1, plus maximum chaos resistances. There's also one here, +1, also chaos resist. Thanks to Intuitive Leap, which is super cheap. Just get the notables without even getting, you know, your tree connecting to them, connected to it. Yeah, accuracy, frenzy. How to generate frenzy charges, if you ask. So yeah, I believe that's it after that. What's that? Here, mark for death, calling strike against marked enemies. Assassin mark is our mark, obviously. There's a mark mastery here, 10% chance to gain frenzy charge when you hit your marked enemy. Because we attack so much in a second, almost 13 attacks per second, plus lots of balls, you will just generate this frenzy charge in a second. So if you can also invest into maximum frenzy charges, it is fine. You can put Transcendent Spirit here for more accuracy. This provides decent DPS. This is per ball, so this is huge DPS actually. But I actually played on 90% of the clips with the new Forbidden Jewels. Where's my other jewel slot? Yeah, this one, Split Personality, Accuracy, Armor. This is also 5 Chaos. So these two combined actually provide some decent DPS. So maybe if you are fine with a lower tankiness, let's say, you can just play with this. Otherwise, you need to use, if you just want to play like I did, Indomitable Resolve, Forbidden Flesh and Flame combinations. These are right now 5 exalt each, so it will cost you 10 exalt. What is Indomitable Resolve? This is the new jewel that has been introduced in Sentinel League. Indomitable Resolve deal 10% less damage, so that is actually a downside. Take 20% less damage. This is from all sources. It's damage over time, chaos damage, cold damage, everything. So this is just stupid, provides so much mitigation. But if you are fine without this, you can obviously get another Forbidden Jewel or maybe some good DPS. One good thing is a Tuama. more buff effect from your totems, which will provide you more attack speed because we are using Ancestral Protector. Because Molten Strike is a mostly projectile damage dealing skill, Ward Shift doesn't do much because it provides melee DPS. So that's why we are using Ancestral Protector. Where's that? Yeah. If you can also afford one, it is 100 chaos right now. Phantasmal for even more effect. That's pretty much about everything. And finally, I forgot this, Watcher's Eye. Vitality on hit, that is a must. It is right now 2 exiled. If you can also afford a double one, something with precision or anger. Anger is very expensive because tornado shot builds. People still play tornado shot, people who can actually farm good currency because omniscience is expensive. But they actually buy anger, crit multiplier, and vitality on hit. So that's why that is super expensive. That is why I picked precision. This was 7 exalt. Maybe it is right now more expensive because Watcher's Eye prices are always going up. It is hard to buy them cheaper once the league starts to go on. I'm not going to talk about the gems. There is nothing to explain. Just follow them. Awakener Strike isn't a must. You can just play with Divergent. Instead, the DPS difference is not that much. It doesn't worth the investment, let's say. Because I just wanted to min-max the build. That is why. Anger is your aura choice. Obviously, Precision, Accuracy. Warbanner and Nemulus. That is important, provides accuracy. Otherwise, just don't use it because it doesn't do anything. Blood and Sand. Molten Strike is an AoE skill, so this provides area damage. On Blood Stance, you want to be on Blood Stance all the time. Sand Stance doesn't do anything for this build, so just get that damage buff all the time. If you also get an Animalus, projectile damage. Totems, just explained this. Ancestral Call is a gem swap. This is actually an open gem slot. You can just put this in your inventory. You want Ancestral Call instead of elemental damage while mapping, so you can actually attack 3 additional enemy plus Tribal Fury on your amulet. That means 4 additional targets, so it makes mapping so much easier, obviously. So make sure you gem swap while mapping. Immortal Call on cast when damage taken. This just pops automatically only level 1. You can level this to level 3. Yeah, let me just fix the path of building. So yeah, this way you can actually mitigate more damage because this just consumes your endurance charges. Juggernaut actually generates endurance charges automatically once he gets hit. So you can just consume them all the time for more instant, mitigation. Less elemental damage taken, less physical damage taken. So this is an automated setup. You don't have to do anything. Just lock these gems. So you are fine. Enduring Cry, if you want that additional healing, this is mostly for bosses with immunity phases. Uber Shaper's Ball phase. Again, Uber Elders Ball phase. So yeah, you need to press this if you want to heal yourself. Also pop Val Molten Shelf if you need that extra absorption. Let's say. Increased duration helps for a longer duration. And also longer duration on Enduring Cry's buff. But you can skip increased duration if you want. If you still need that extra jump slot for something else. Did I forget anything? And finally this, I forgot to color this. Blood Rage for attack speed, just put this on your left mouse button. It is easy. Only level 1 vitality for that Watcher's Eye. Hydrosphere, this applies Drench, meaning lightning and cold exposure. This build deals 3 different elements at the same time, so this actually provides some decent DPS. Try to put this near the boss. It is so easy to cast this, it has a super fast cast speed. So just try to transfer this from one side to the other side of the Maven invitation. Maybe you are killing something else, you just whirling blade to the other side, whatever. Just try to also keep up with this. Assassin Mark already explained this in Oskarm Glows section. If you didn't watch that, go and watch that because this is important information. That was it. Thanks for watching. Again, I will have Armor Stack Champion update video for Sentinel League without Ashes of Stars amulet. There are gonna be clips with Mage Blood and non-Mage Blood. The build is still crazy, nothing got nerfed obviously because patch notes didn't provide anything in 3.18. So yeah, definitely consider playing that build if you want something cheaper and if you want something that deals ridiculous DPS. That build can also do all Uber bosses, by the way. But obviously you cannot face tank most of the stuff. That is what this build can do in this video. I will also have a Saboteur build coming soon. One of my friends gave me his character. I just played it for a couple of hours. So expect those build guides soon. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to join my Discord. If you are feeling generous, check my Patreon. That is where you can support me. Support the channel. I will see you later. Bye bye.